Hi guys. So I'm yet again on a journey of bewilderment. This channel here, I'm following this guy here. I'm listening to all his podcasts that he made. He's very deep. He was participant in a German experiment of Farsight in the early 2000s, where he was member of a group of people who did this Farsight, going in with their minds to certain hidden objects. They're talking here about how, amongst lots of other things, do us human beings fit into this world. They're talking about his Farsight project and how strange it is that they can plug into something in the ether almost that gives them this information, about future events, for instance. So I'm kind of scrolling through all of his videos, and I realized that I had already found his channel before this, and it was a talk where he talked about the witches. This was the other thing that I translated. This witch hunting. And this whole playlist, I saved it, you see. It was part of that playlist that I had. So I'd found that channel before. And I'm sitting here pondering as to what else he brings forth, And I'm stuck on the chronological, made-up history, right? That our history cannot be trusted, the story of our history. He did a translation of a video here, an English video. So in effect, he's doing what I'm doing, only the other way around. And he has translated something by Eric Dubai, which is also very interesting to listen to. Is Earth a School or a Prison? But then I clicked on another one of his playlists, In the Fog of History, which I'm sort of halfway through. And before I got to that, I found his German translation of this video here. The issue was chronology, Anatoly Fomenko's book, summary, done by the Real Notice. So this is there in English and in German, so because he has translated this into German. Huge amount of work doing that, by the way. And where they're arguing, and it is, it's very well argued, becomes almost sort of self-evident once you start digging, that, for instance, the stories of the kings in history mirror one another. So you have the ancient world mirroring the so-called medieval king list. Here's Theodosius, and here's the biblical narrative or characters, which he argues, and he's finding these arguments in old books that come from Germany. Yeah, and it's all about this here, going from the matriarchal thing through a reset into the patriarchal rulership, and it's quite astonishing. So there's this German fella that, and he's not the only one, who's been arguing that all of history has been written, all the ancient texts were invented by the people of the Renaissance. There is, for instance, no evidence of any older Pope churches. They all sort of start at 1300, and they're arguing what you see here is the relic of a former Holy Empire that stretched all the way throughout Europe, had a common language. Was heathen, was a matriarchal society. And the interesting thing is, I was pondering yesterday about the Jesus story. You know the story of Mary? Mary who received the Holy Spirit. Mary who birthed within herself the Christ child. Mary who was enlightened. And they're arguing here that this was all there before. The Holy Anna with her daughter Marie, which was the Jesus child. Elementia, mother of Anna. I'm only 6 minutes in, but it kind of, well, it resonates with me, you know. Who you're asking for mainly when you're in trouble? All being well, I mean. There's many writers have said, when they were talking about war, they were describing how men, when they were dying on the battlefield, were crying for their mother. Because all things going well, the mother is the one who nourishes, who sustains, who gives love. Now we could argue that happens due to hormonal flooding at the time of birth, yeah? But this feminine principle is the one that is supposed to nourish, give unconditional love, if any such a thing exists on earth. It's the female that births that. When you see tigers and lions defending their cubs, the mother, the brave mother in the horse world. It's interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting thought. And then the patriarchy comes along and kills everything that the mother births. And the mother goes through so much pain giving birth. I was quite fascinated. I've watched a lot of documentaries on the ancient queens, you know, so-called, if we can be trusted of the truth about their story, but the way what they took upon themselves to ensure their offspring's survival in this horrendous period of time, this brutal time that they were living in, and the hardships they took upon themselves to make sure their own survived, you know. I just find it interesting. I think you can read that entire Enlightenment story in a completely different way if you focus on her story, her seeing the angel. And isn't that ultimately what we're all looking for? That which the feminine principle has to offer? Because isn't unconditional love in the mouths of everybody? So what's really happened with this story, I wonder? And this is just another layer of the onion. Which doesn't take away from ultimately, I guess, what we're in here, but it just shows you, you know, the deception, the depth of the deception that this realm has sort of fallen into. It's also interesting who they argue what the language was that birthed all others. Now, I'm not going to say anything because, you know, it will be misread, misinterpreted. But these are interesting videos, and what you can do if you're interested, you can go there, you can click on captions, and if you haven't already selected that setting, you select German auto-generated and get the English translation for them. It's not all that brilliant, but it will allow you to get the gist of these stories. And what I'll do is I'll put the links below. Who are the most hated people, do you think, on Earth? What derogative word is out there in everybody's mouth, no matter where you ask, in which country? What is the most derogatory swear word that kind of stops every conversation in its tracks? You are a... I wonder why that is. He also points out the little things that keep sort of betraying the narrative. Because when you look at all these ancient big cathedrals and whatnot, they all belie their origin. And what you find there time and time again is, for instance, the Green Man, embedded in the structure. Something grounded in nature, in the belief of nature. A beautiful example can be found there. My thing has switched itself off again. My screen goes blind. I get cut off. You know, I mean, what can you say? Archetype of being connected with the earth. In the 80s, you know, all these horror stories that we've had to deal with over the last sort of 100 years to keep us scared. In the 80s, the Germans went absolutely nuts because we were told about the sour rain, yeah? The rain that was going to kill all the trees. And oh my God, the Germans just flipped out, didn't they? They loved the trees so much. They loved their forests so much. He points out how many writers and poets have pointed all this out sort of secretly in their works. Without being too vocal about it. So there's this, these are the women's mountains, looking like two wings giving shelter. So they had a pagan significance. And yeah, look. They took that symbolism over. So the old wasn't completely destroyed, so the people would still sort of find their footing in the new dogma that was forced upon them. Yeah, interesting. That's mimicry, you know? You know, and then there's this story of these people that profess to be the most hated in the world, and they have been thrown out of every country imaginable, blah, blah. Or the poor victim narrative, which is now going to come and haunt them because they've put it out there so long, now it's going to come true, even if it wasn't true. Because in truth, other people have been besmirched and lowered and called the worst of the worst. But when you project that out here for so long, you just gotta be careful that it doesn't turn around and bite you. I'll leave the links below. That's very interesting, and if you can speak German, I'll tell you, this is a very, very good channel to subscribe to. Do you know, we are in a very strange time period where we're having access to all these thoughts, right? And can't you just sense that somehow this period is of great significance? And can you see how they're trying yet again to rewrite history? And how they've used Hollywood to reinforce sort of our perception of history. And how they're now using it, or trying to use it again, to instruct people in a different way. We have so many words, and because I've listened to so much German now, I'm struggling with the English words. But the German language is a very peculiar language. I said this time and time again, it can be very, very precise, which is why it's been used for philosophy a lot, and for certain scientific subjects, technical things, and because of its peculiarities and how the words themselves kind of carry truth and reveal things to you. You find that a lot in the English language as well, which is what lots of people find out. And that is mainly due to the fact that underlying the English language is this Germanic structure. So I shared this with somebody. English, fully Germanic English. What if English were 100% Germanic? Can modern English speakers understand Old English? And vice versa, he did a video where he read Old English to German speakers. And on average they did really well, understanding and deciphering this old stuff. I'll just let this run for a little bit, so you see the translation works quite well.
Ältesten und wirksamsten Mittel zur Heilung. Die Zeit ist nun gekommen, uns wieder vertrauter mit dem zu machen, was unseren Ahnen zu eigen war. Ein Annehmen all dessen, was dem Bewusstsein erlaubt, wieder zu Ganzheit und Wohlbefinden zu gelangen. Ein Verbundensein und eine Berührung, die Sicherheit und inneres Gleichgewicht bringt. Eine Berührung, die uns auf unserem Mutterboden erdet. Die ganze Kultur der Frauenberge war mutmaßlich davon geprägt. Sie basierte auf Mitgefühl, Barmherzigkeit und Liebe. Die Menschen suchten das Göttliche nicht im Außen, sondern sie besaßen eine, wie Goethe es nannte, Ehrfurcht vor sich selber, die es ihnen erlaubte, frei von Schuldkonflikten zu leben. Die Lebendigkeit der Natur war auch in den Seelen bildhaft geschaute Wirklichkeit und Hingabe. Die Ansprechpartnerinnen für alle Belange des Lebens wurden als heilig bezeichnet, weil sie heilend, gütig und segensvoll wirkten. In der Ergänzung und der gegenseitigen Achtung von Weiblichem und Männlichem lag und liegt noch heute ein ganzheitlich göttliches Sein. Religionen, unter anderem die monotheistischen Religionen, lösten diese Kultur ab, wenn auch vieles im Untergrund fortwirken konnte. Mit dem Untergang der Kultur der Frauenberge verschwand auch die Kindheit, im Sinne von Unbefangenheit, der damaligen Menschen. Sie hatten fortan zu funktionieren, ihre Bedürfnisse wurden kaum gesehen und die bereits angesprochenen Kriege trugen ein Übriges zu dieser Verdunkelung bei. Von dem Geschilderten zeugen Hunderte von Sagen und Tausende von Flurnamen vor unserer Haustür. Davon gibt dieses Buch einen Einblick. Bliebe es bei der Betonung des Weiblichen alleine, wäre meine Darstellung allerdings unvollständig. Es würde der andere Pol fehlen, das Männliche. Das typische Bild des Männlichen ist, wie unsere lieben Frauen, in unseren Kirchen schon lange anwesend. Und das lässt uns fragen, wer die Baumeister dieser alten Kunstwerke des sogenannten Mittelalters eigentlich waren. Sie versäumten es wohl nur selten, einen oder mehrere grüne Männer abzubilden. Ein schönes Beispiel findet sich in der Elisabethenkirche im hessischen Marburg an der Lahn. Dieses lässt unschwer erkennen, was der grüne Mann symbolisiert. Zitat aus William Anderson, Der grüne Mann, ein Archetyp der Erdverbundenheit, Seite 17. Der grüne Mann steht für das unbezähmbare, durch nichts zu unterdrückende Leben. Wenn man erstmal auf ihn aufmerksam geworden ist, trifft man überall auf ihn und er spricht zu einem. Er ist ein Bild aus der Tiefe der Prähistorie. Seine Ursprünge sind sehr alt, sie liegen weit vor unserem christlichen Zeitalter. In all seinen Erscheinungsformen ist er ein Sinnbild der Erneuerung und der Wiedergeburt. Zitat Ende. Hunderte Male können wir dem grünen Mann allein in Deutschland begegnen. Seine grüne Farbe weist ihn in Verbindung mit den sprießenden Blättern als einen Begleiter unserer lieben Frauen aus, als Partner der Göttin. Die Göttin wandelte seit dem 14. Jahrhundert etwa ihre Gestalt, vielmehr wurde sie verändert. Die Menschen verehren sie seitdem als Maria, aber auch in der Gestalt der Anna. Die christliche Legende sieht in ihr die Mutter der Maria. Name und Gestalt der zahlreichen Darstellungen der Anna selbst verweisen uns hier fast noch auf die alte Frauendreiheit.
The Trinity, the three goddesses. Well, I've been there years ago. Anyway, I'll leave the links below if you're interested. Just thought I'd share that with you.